Welcome to our podcast today. Ask Aaron and Ask EJ. This is Coach EJ, the brand.
This is Coach Aaron, the source. Guys, we've got a great guest today. This is LaShawn Wells. LaShawn's been a friend of mine for, God, maybe 30 years, almost since I've been in business. I've trained his daughters, and LaShawn is also the athletic director for Berean Christian High School in the Bay Area here. He's also the founding member of Universal Fast Pitch, a softball organization, one of the co-founders, and he's also an author. He's written a couple of books. One we're going to definitely get into today, which is "Don't Be a Crazy Ass Parent," and the other is "The Seven Principles of Faith-Based Parenting," along with his other laundry list of things he's accomplishing. He's also the founder of Right Choice Coaching, a mindset consulting company that specializes in training sports teams, individuals, families who struggle with mental toughness, business issues, and personal struggles. So we can cover a lot of ground with you, my friend.
Well, thanks. Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. I've been knowing, like Aaron said, for a long time. I've known about EJ and just really respect what you guys are doing, and I'm honored to be here.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I want to lead with your book in that subject, and that's going to be kind of our overarching subject today, you guys, is parenting in youth sports and how you can help, how you hurt, and how to best position yourself so that your athlete has success, but also enjoys their athletic journey. That's probably what's most important, because usually I feel on the parent side, they tend to affect more of the enjoyment of this experience more so than having an impact on the nuts and bolts of athleticism and technique of whatever sport is. So I'm gonna let LaShawn kind of start with a couple of leading comments, and then we'll go into it.
Yeah, I mean, what you said is so true and so important. What I've discovered over the years in raising three girls who, played sports at a high level, that at the end of the day, especially as I look on the backside of this, we don't know our records. We don't know how many races we won. Like none of it really mattered. And at the end of the day, is my relationship intact because of, or is my relationship in trouble in spite of what I did as a parent while they were running and playing softball and soccer and all that stuff? And so what I try to encourage parents today what we got to do is we got to love on our kids. We got to let them know that we don't judge them based on their performance. And sometimes it can be real subtle. Parents don't even realize like their attitudes have changed because their kid had a bad game. Their conversations are different because the kid lost the game or lost a match. And I encourage parents to, separate. Don't look through your kid's lens to try to judge how you're going to parent them. And sometimes, like I said, my experience is parents don't even see it. It's subtle. But the kid can feel it, right? The kid knows when they're being judged by their parent. And the conversations are different. The attitude is different. And so parents got to really be mindful that, hey, at the end of the day, it's a game, it's a sport. It doesn't matter that much. And if you make it matter, it will affect that kid way down the road.
Mm,
Yeah.
Oh,
excellent.
man. Well said, Aaron. Just well said. And LaShawn, it's funny. I always tell parents this. After a game, don't say anything to your kid. Let them conversate. Let them talk about whatever they want to talk about.
Right.
And you don't need to mention anything about the game. You don't
Right.
even let them kind of come to you. And I think that line of communication from a daughter to a parent or a son to a parent is established. That parent child relationship is so important. And
Yeah.
like you said, at the end of the day, you don't know the record, you don't know what happened, you don't know about the trophies, all that stuff. It really doesn't matter. I was thinking this about this the other day, Aaron. I have all these trophies when I was a kid, right? They're on storage or they're gone. It didn't really matter what it mattered to me is that my parents gave me a hug after the game and
Yeah.
said, "Hey man, good effort today." You
Yeah.
know, that was probably the most important thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I say it all the time. I said, no one remembers who won the Calistoga Bonanza 9-year-old, soccer tournament in the grand scheme of things. And I think you're right. There should be degrees of separation between the activity and then when you want to talk about it. And so I'll usually say, wait till the next day. That way, there's not as much emotional attachment by either the athlete or the parent to what happened.
Right.
Because by then, a lot of other things have probably taken a different place in their lives and you've moved on, and it's much more in the rear view mirror. And actually, you can probably look at it a lot more objectively at that point and
Yeah. Absolutely.
come to whatever you want to come to about it. So that would be my advice in that instance, because you're right. And I get where the parents coming from, because the parents like, oh, okay, I saw he did this, or I saw she did that, and you want to help them and make that change. And my thing is, again, like EJ always says, yeah, just pump the brakes. You don't have to have that conversation right now. But
Yeah. It's interesting as you guys were talking, I was thinking of one experience, and it was a positive one, but it taught me a lot. My daughter's team had just won the national softball championship in Oklahoma City. Parents were excited. My daughter had this great game. We all go to this restaurant, and I paused and I looked over and I saw all the parents celebrating wine, beer, and I looked over at the kids, and the kids were on their phones, and my daughter comes up to me, Dad, when are we getting back to California? And I'm like, hey, you just had the great win. And she
right.
goes, yeah, but my friends are waiting for me. I got to get back home. Right? It's like, I remember going, yeah, that was about us. Wasn't
Right.
the kids did it, but they've moved on. And this was like a joyous occasion.
Right.
And
Right.
yet here the parents like, yeah, and I'm thinking, yeah, no, it's not about that, right? And so I just try to remind parents, like you guys were saying, at the end of the day, it's a game. And yeah, we want to help them. And sometimes the intentions are great, right? Parents have these great intentions, but great advice. Let them come to you. Let them come when they're ready, especially if they didn't have their best game, especially if it's something didn't go right. And so, and I see it at the high school level now. It's like, I get the emails, the letters, and it's like, wow, it's really that serious for some of these parents. I mean, I have seen parents, especially at a private school where they're paying money to go, they
Mhm.
have an expectation like, why is my kid not playing?
Yeah.
And, and they'll let you know, right? They'll let you know. So there's things that we do to try to, try to get in front of it. But it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that brings a question to mind. And I always like to, especially when I have experts on like you, is
Yeah.
give the audience some kind of nuts and bolts that they can kind of put into play. And what would be maybe three things you would advise a parent to do when their athlete has a bad game, and how
Mhm.
to approach them? What would be just three basic things that you might say? Give me
Yes,
three
yeah,
things.
that's good. I think the first thing for parents to remember, try to be as normal. Make sure you go your normal routine as possible. So if it's Tuesday and every Tuesday night the family went and had pizza, right? Make sure that you emphasize this is still the same Tuesday night that we're gonna go have pizza. Nothing's changed because of the game, because of the loss, because of the error, whatever. Like make sure there's consistency. And you may have to be intentional because as a parent, you really may be bothered or upset. So I would say make sure that you're consistent and you're intentional about it. Number
So,
two,
so that means don't grab a bucket of balls and say, okay, now we're gonna and now we're gonna hit 100 grounders. Or you're gonna give me 53 free throws.
exactly.
Oh, that's too
Yeah.
good.
And with that said, that's a great point, Aaron, because you may have the kind of kid who says, I had a terrible game. I want to stay after and hit and do whatever. And as a parent, if it's a Tuesday night pizza night with all the kids are waiting, the family's waiting. Go do the family thing. Still,
Mhm.
even though that kid is hungry, I love that, but no, just stay on track, stay consistent would be the first thing I would say. And Because I had the kind of kids that would be like, "Hey, Dad, I gotta stay and hit some more." I'm like, "No, you don't. Your sister's got something to do tonight, and we're gonna hit later,
Mhm.
right?" Number two is I would make sure that I'm controlling the parents controlling their feelings around what just happened. Like, there's gonna be some natural, because we want our kids to succeed. We want our kids to look good. And is it about me? Right? So parents, check yourself. Is it about me looking good or is it really about the kid, right? So I would tell the parent to make sure that you really check your own internal feelings, process it before the kid gets there, like what you're really feeling about what just happened. And then number three, I would say it's so important to just grab that kid. And this is what I advise parents after every game. What did you learn and did you have fun? Right. And so wins or losses, hey, what did you learn today? Did you have fun? So if that's your questions all the time, it's not going to matter how they play because they know they're ready to answer, yeah, it wasn't so fun, or yeah, I had a lot of fun. And today I learned blank. So if you can ask those questions and be consistent about it, control your own behavior and keep your routine, I think it's great for the kid.
Hmm. Especially now, LaShawn saying those things, and just because everything is just so out there media wise, and people want to post stuff on social medias and stuff like that, I think it's very important just to stay grounded
Yeah.
with what you're doing, and I think that's Aaron. I think that's super advice for parents out there. I hope a lot of parents listening are listening to this because. Man, I totally support that 100% because sometimes we can get highly emotional and
Hmm.
our kids see that and then they're afraid to come to us. And
Right.
we don't want that to happen. We want our kids to be able to come to us, approach us, feel good about, anything. I come to my parents or anything. But if we start acting out on our emotions, then maybe that puts up a roadblock for future things without even being sports. It could just be a normal thing that goes on in their life.
That's good. That's great. Yeah, that's so true.
And I like that you mentioned, asking the athlete what did they learn because that continues to promote their growth
Right.
as an
Right.
athlete and as a person. They learn to be introspective.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I definitely like that aspect of
Yeah,
it.
and even after practices, I think it'd be great if you ask your kid, "Hey, so what you learn today?" Right? Because then that's a no pressure situation. There's no scoreboard, and then you can, like you said, Aaron, and I don't know if I, learned that through the process of my kids going through your training, but I know that a lot of times after the training with you, it was about what did you learn today? Because not being a track guy,
Yeah.
how can I help them stay on task with what you just went through?
Hmm.
And I would say my track daughter and the kids that worked out with you, they had to be real introspective because it was new stuff, new drills all the time. So what'd you learn today? Dad, I learned that I got to have my heel up. And
Hmm.
so I'm gonna say that probably came from some of the stuff you were teaching my kids.
Great. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit and ask you a question about because you've been doing this for 20, 30 odd years and you've coached at a variety of different levels. And again, your girls have had some really great success as athletes. And so now putting on your coach's hat as well as your consulting hat, how would a parent or what should the parent coach relationship really look like? How should they be communicating? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great question because, and I see, I see it all the time. And what's interesting is I see it from male athletes and their parents different than how I experience it from female athletes. And it's phenomenal because, I try to get the parent to understand that we're teaching your kid a life skill, right? And so, yeah, they're an athlete, but how can we get them to be the leader of their own selves, right? Like, should you be calling me really, or should they be calling me? Right? Should they come and talk to me after a practice when they have a question, or should they go tell you and then you come tell me?
Hmm.
Right? But what I noticed, especially the last 5 years working at a high school, it's the moms of boys who call me.
Yeah.
And it's not the moms of girls. Usually the girl will come to me.
Mhm.
The moms of boys say, he didn't know about this and that. I'm like, well, that's unbelievable. We got it posted. We do this Berean Daily where it's podcasts all the time. Right? It's just hard to believe that he didn't know this. Are you sure he didn't know this? Can you send him to me? Right? That's what I try to tell the parent. But I think the communication and the relationship with the coach And the parent is coach always reminding the parent that we're trying to teach a life skill. So I will support you in how you're working with your kid, Mr. So and so, by reminding you to send them to me, and I'll answer that question for them. I had an unbelievable experience. I had a senior parent recently contact me and say, "Hey, my son didn't get all of his awards from his coach and certificates and pins. And so I'm going to come down there next week and grab them from you." I said, "No, you're not. No, you're not." I said, "You could please send him to
Mm,
me, and he and I can talk, because that's the process anyway, right? But I'm not having a mom come get his stuff."
right.
And so I think sometimes as coaches, we've got to be really candid sometimes with the parent. We can do it in a way that's respectful, but just reminding them that we're here to help walk alongside you guys as parents and raising your kid to be a responsible adult by taking care of their business, right? And so I would encourage parents to let that happen. Be partners with those coaches,
Mhm.
because they're on your side. They're trying to make your kid successful at whatever sport it is. It's not an adversarial relationship, right? And some parents start it that way, right?
Mhm.
Right.
So that's my advice to parents. It should be that partnership in helping your kid be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that word you use, partnership. I think that's not used enough in sports, youth sports, high school sports,
Right.
whatever you want to call it. But I know several professional athletes call it a team, a
Right.
partnership. And not saying we're trying to aspire those guys to be guys and gals to be professional athletes. We're not. We're trying to make them better people. And
Yep.
when you talk about partnership, that hopefully that eases, right? That eases the relationship thing. Relationship that, I guess the question I have for you also is why are players, so afraid, athletes, so afraid to talk to their coaches when things are bad, good, or whatever? We've just had this period of tryouts, right? And so athletes usually come to Aaron and myself and say, "Hey, man, this didn't happen. And, I don't know what happened. I don't know what to do." I said, "Well, did you talk to your coach?" Why are athletes afraid to talk to their coaches now? Do you have any advice for that or anything you could state?
Yeah, I wonder when those cases happen for me, I wonder how is it being set up by the parent, right? I know for us, they would come, our kids would come and say, "I did this workout with Aaron, and okay, you need to go ask him. If you didn't understand it, you got to go ask him. It's your job." And so I think as parents taking control sometimes and not allowing the kid to experience that uneasiness of like going to the adult and saying, "Hey, I don't understand. How can I make this better? What should I do? Or why didn't I play? Or what can I do to play more?" I'm working with a young athlete right now, super talented, gifted young lady, and her parents were on her case about not talking to the coach after every game. And she was like, Coach LaShawn, I already know why I'm not playing. But my mom and dad want me to go back to the coach after every game and say, "You need to ask again why you're not playing." And she goes, "I don't know what to do. I
Mm,
know why I'm not playing," right? And so I think that comes sometimes from the parents, putting that pressure, and the kid is like, "I don't even want to talk to my coach anymore."
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Right.
in this case, the kid's saying, "I already know why I'm not playing."
The parents not getting the answer that they want to hear. That's
Right,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a question, EJ?
No, no, I was just I was marveling at the answer is great because I think about being a coach, right? Because we're on the field all the time and talking to kids and interacting, and I can tell when the kid comes to me and says, "I want to talk to you about something," or where it started, originated from. Did the kid really want to know, or they just, it's not natural. It just looks unnatural for them,
Right, right.
rather than just say, "Hey, coach, I don't understand what's happening. How
It's
do
like,
how do I play more? Or what should I do more, coach, to get some more playing time? Or we got any advice for this?" When the kid naturally says, "Hey, coach, I don't get it. Like, what do I need to do? I'm missing the ball, or I don't know how to throw this, or my foot movement pattern's off." You naturally can feel it, and
Right.
it's just
Right.
self-described. It's like, hey, let the kids. I always say, let the kids play.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're so right, EJ, because that kid knows when they get in the car, they have to answer the one question from mom or dad. Did you talk to your coach today?
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, yeah. But they, like you said, they really already knew. They didn't really need to do anything but answer their parents' question when they get in the car. Yeah, I did talk to my coach.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like those are those situations where in your head you're saying, okay, did your parents do your homework? Did your parents write this
Right.
paper? That sort of thing. This doesn't sound like you.
Right.
But what I'm hearing from both you guys, and this is something I'm really big on, is we're talking about taking and empowering your athlete to take ownership
Yep.
in their
Hmm.
athletic career. And it's an overarching thing in a lot of our podcasts, from time management to communication to are you all in, mental toughness. And I agree. I think the one of the parents' big responsibilities is to give them that leash and that rope to be able to take ownership, whether
Right.
it's passing, whether it's successful or failing, but they got to go through those experiences.
Absolutely.
Right.
Oh, no, I definitely agree. And I think that would be one word to encapsulate a lot of what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's to me, it's like the parents, like you said, they want to do the homework, right? They don't want the kid to put in the 10,000 hours to be great at something. They want to, take over
Hmm.
5,000 of the 10,000, hours. Like let the kid go through the process. And if they end up being professionals, great. If not, they've learned some life skills that they can apply in other areas of their life. And for me, that's really what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
I tell my girls all the time, I want you to be great at life, right? I
Mm.
want you to be great at life. And if you can learn certain things about the sport and the habits that it takes to be good at it, then you could be great at life, right? Great moms, great people in the community, what great employees. Like that's what I want you to be great at. And
We've only got a couple more minutes here, so and I wanted to I've been reading your book, and don't be a crazy ass parent, and it's kind of a compilation of blogs of your
yeah,
experiences over the years. And I'm gonna put you on the spot here and ask you to give me maybe what's one of your most memorable negative experiences, examples of a parent, and what's probably one of your most positive experiences with the parent.
yeah. So I'll get the negative one out of the way first. Yeah, I had a parent who just you could they were living through their kids' experience, right? They wanted their kid to play every game and to bat in the prime positions, and the mom just it was almost like she couldn't control herself. We would have these conversations and the game would start and man, she would just be like this other person. And I love the kid to death, but it was such a disruption. I had to tell them they couldn't play on the team after the season, right? And I was like, and I was very honest and got the mom, dad, and the kid, and I said, I cannot take you back on the team because of the behavior of your parents. And with tears in my eyes and their eyes, kid got it. Kid went on to do great things in college, and we maintained a relationship. The kid,
Nice.
right? The kid didn't hold me for her mom's behavior, and the kid went on and is doing really great things in life. So I'm super proud about that. Um,
Well,
I
just
think
real quick,
yes,
what was the parents' reactions?
I think the parent finally got hit square in the face with it. Like I've caused my daughter to lose something she really wanted to lose, I really wanted to have. And I think it hit the mom. The dad was a very passive guy, so which is part of the reason why the mom was out of control at the games anyway. And he didn't say anything in that meeting. He just kind of swallowed it, and they got up and left. And I'm an emotional guy sometimes, and so it pained me, man. It really pained me to have to do that. But I think she went on. I would like to think that from that they learned something that I hope they took with them. And I think they did. Man, I got so many positive ones. So many good people I've been blessed to meet. I guess the one I would say is there's a kid. She's a I'm gonna give it away. She's a starting shortstop at Cal. rated the number 20 something best softball player in the country this year. But was just a kid. When I first met her, I said, there's something about this kid that's different, right? And I had coaches on the fence. There's some prominent coaches like, I don't think she's that good. I don't know if, I'm so proud that this kid is a great softball player, but she is a better person.
Wow.
She's a better person. And I meet with her and a couple other kids in the off season every year, and she is serving her community and leading her team, and she's just a great young lady. And I think I mentioned her in her name in the book, but just by her attitude and working hard and believing in what we were selling, and going in head first and then seeing the results, I'm just so proud of her. So proud of her. Yeah.
Great.
That's great.
I'm sure you've got a lot of stories like that, man. You're a good guy. You've been around a long time. You've seen a lot, and we've shared a lot of clients. Your daughters are probably the best testament to, who you are as a coach and as a parent, and I got to experience them firsthand. So no, it's been a pleasure.
Thank
EJ, I know we got to wrap it up. This is a
Yeah,
busy man.
I
We
know.
said at the beginning all the things he's doing. So
We got to have him back, one
yeah,
day and just talk more about it. But God, what a privilege to have you on today and really share some really great experiences and some great advice for parents out there. So we really appreciate that too. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I would love to. I mean, I think this is such an important topic. And if parents can get just something from your guys' podcast to implement, I think they can help the relationship with their kid and change maybe even the outcome of what that relationship looks like. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me and for doing this.
no problem. LaShawn, let everyone know where they can reach you if they want to get a hold of you. Please, you can tell them a little bit more about your books, the titles, where they can find those.
Absolutely. Yeah. So both books are on Amazon. Feel free to check them out there. I can be reached at 925-586-4771. I answer all my text messages. My Right Choice Coaching website is up. There's a questionnaire on there. You can send me a questionnaire through the website and reach out to me that way. And if you want a free consult, let me know, and I can try to answer all the questions that you have. But I absolutely love helping families get this right, and so that's why I was created, man, to do this kind of work. And you're so right. My daughters, there's some experience in just, and we didn't always get it right. There's a story about my middle daughter that I would love to tell if I can have a few minutes just to
Yeah,
tell this.
I just don't want to. I just don't want to,
I appreciate it.
take too much of
Yeah.
your time. So love to
Yeah, I
hear it.
appreciate it. So a lot of times, we're all goal chasers, right? And you put the carrot and we chase it. So kids are being, told by their parents, dangle this stick and they may go get it, and right? And so that's true most of the time. But I had a daughter who could care less about golden rabbits chasing. She just wasn't into that, right? And I couldn't understand how to motivate her to not be the kind of athlete who was just upset when she failed, right? She was an athlete who, when she failed, she was upset. And I mean, it went all the way to college. She's a freshman in college, and um, her coach called me and said, "Hey, your daughter, she just loses it when she strikes out. I don't know what to do." And I said, "Well, I was hoping you would fix her." That's kind of why we sent her there, right? And so I go down to San Diego and I have a conversation with my daughter, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is this such an issue for you? And it's part of the game of softball. And she says, Dad, it's like when I strike out, it's like the whole world is laughing at me. And it hit me. I was like, okay, wow. But I had no answers.
Mhm.
I had an older daughter who ran track and a younger daughter, softball player. And they were like, I'm chasing all league, I'm chasing all American, I'm chasing, right? So they were motivated by that. So
Mhm.
the only answer I could give my one daughter was, then don't strike out. Don't strike out. And she looked at me and said, Dad, you're right. I just won't strike out. And I'm like, wait, did I get something right here? She goes, she says, I'm just not gonna strike out. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what did I set off here, right? But what it meant for her was get that tee out, And every single day, I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna go to
Mm.
work. I'm gonna go to work. And I'm watching her, and I go back home to the Bay, and she's sending me videos of her, and she's just working and working. And she got front toss drills. She's got people helping her. She went from being a regular softball player to being the 10th toughest kid to strike out in the country 3 years in a row.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's
Whoa.
crazy.
Right. And
Wow.
what was fascinating as she's doing this, we know as a as a baseball guy, we know her batting average is going up, her hit
Mhm.
totals are going up, her on base percentage is going up. Now she's all Mountain West Conference
Impressive.
and could care less. She could care.
I could care less.
I was like, honey, you doing this? She goes, I'm not striking out.
That's cared about. I
That's all
love it.
she cared about. And that taught me a valuable lesson in coaching these kids. If I can get to what really motivates them,
Mm.
right? And it may not be the thing that I think would motivate most kids, but if I can find out what really motivates you, then I'm going to be able to really coach you up. And so I just take that story with me all the time, man, because it was my own kid. My own kid was my toughest kid client, but she also taught me such a valuable lesson for all the other kids I'm coaching.
Great
So
story,
I'll do
man.
that. Yeah, it's
Great.
cool.
Glad we took the extra few minutes.
Yeah.
I'm glad we did too. Well, hey, that wraps it up today at our podcast. Ask Aaron and Ask EJ. This is Coach EJ, the brand.
It's Coach Aaron the Source. And now you guys can ask LaShawn. We'll see.
Ask LaShawn.